Health and fitness requires more than just the physical work. It starts with the work you put in to grow your mind. Welcome to the Mind Gains podcast, where we discuss what it takes mentally to see results physically. I'm your host, Jess. Let's get started. Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to another episode of the Mind Gains podcast. I am so happy you're here listening to my voice because today I have a message that I think every single one of us needs to hear. And it's something that I also have to remind myself of from time to time. So just know that I am also very much so speaking to myself here. I definitely have some tough love messages to get out there today, but I think we could all use that sometimes. There has been something on my mind, I think because I've had quite a few conversations surrounding this topic lately, and I think everyone could benefit from this message. So I wanted to make an episode out of it. And that message is going to be to learn to play the long game. Learn to play the long game because, truth be told, if you don't, you're not getting very far in this journey. This is not a suggestion. It is a requirement if you want any sort of long-term success here. You have to be okay with putting the work in every single day and not expecting to see results instantly. And if you don't already know that any goal you could possibly have in health and fitness can take a while to accomplish, now you do. It takes a lot of time. And I would say that most of the time people tend to think, I'll start working out and in a few weeks I'll see some major changes to my physique. Absolutely not. I mean, maybe in some instances, depending on your body composition and what your protocols are, maybe you will see some decent improvements physically, but you should definitely not expect this. And I really believe that part of the reason people usually give up on their health journey, their fitness journey, is because they started it with unrealistic expectations. They believed that the results they wanted would come fairly quickly, and if it doesn't, then that program or routine or whatever they're following just doesn't work for them. Untrue. You started working out and changing your diet and did not at all back up your expectations of how any of it would work on science. This is exactly what I did. I truly did not know the first thing about exercise or nutrition, and I didn't even realize that there was a science to it, honestly. I didn't know that if you put in X, you will get Y, or that there was a surefire way to get fat loss or muscle building results. I genuinely thought it was a shot in the dark. And if you worked out a few days a week and ate a little better, whatever that meant, because I had truly no idea at the time, then there was a chance you might end up where you want to be. I'm not kidding when I say I knew less about any of this stuff at that time than probably the average person does. But that just goes to show that anyone can learn this and make progress forward. So we have to back up our expectations of how this process is going to go on science so that we know exactly what to expect out of our efforts and avoid unnecessary frustration when we don't see instant results or results from bare minimum efforts, because that's not going to cut it either. Everything in health and fitness, building muscle, losing fat, body recomp, building healthy habits and a healthy lifestyle, all of these things require a lot of time and a ton of effort. And one of the first questions people always ask is, how long will all of this take? And in short, the answer is a long stinking time. So settle in and get comfortable because we're playing the long game here. Health and fitness is not a sprint, it's a freaking marathon. And we're going to be doing this for a while. And that's honestly something that I never really put much thought into before starting this process, before starting to work out and changing my diet and all that good stuff. I didn't really think about the fact that it would be a long journey ahead. I mean, I started this off just like most people do, and I didn't go into it with realistic expectations or really with any clue of what lied ahead and what it actually would take to see the results that I wanted. I honestly don't really know what I was expecting when I first started out, but it definitely wasn't what it turned out to be in a good way. In a good way. At first, there was definitely a lot more to this whole health and fitness thing than I originally had thought there was, but the end result and payoff from putting in the hard work resulted in so much more than I imagined it would. So I want to help set you up for success with this lifestyle, By starting off with realistic expectations regarding how long this can take and how we can transition all of these into habits that we do keep up with forever. So let's talk about it. In case anyone hasn't noticed, we live in a world of instant gratification. We can snap our fingers and pretty much get anything we want pretty instantly. We put in an online order for something, and within a day or two, usually, it's delivered right to our front door. We can pop a frozen meal into the oven and it's ready in about 10 minutes. I mean, think about the days when people used to slave all day long just to be able to have a meal that night. And now we can be enjoying a nice Marie Callender chicken pot pie in less than 10 minutes total. Think about how quickly we get frustrated when things aren't moving at the lightning speed that we're accustomed to. I know for me, when my internet is a little slow, it takes about 10 seconds for me to get real fed up because things aren't moving, as quickly as they usually do. They're moving a little bit slower. And I know that I'm not alone in this. We are not required to have much patience at all in today's day and age. But you do have to have patience when it comes to health and fitness, and you got to have lots of it. That will never change, no matter how many new fad diets they come up with or what new quick acting product companies try to put out on the market. There is no quick fix, it doesn't exist. And we must learn to be okay with that. I like to look up the topics I talk about here on Google just to see what I would possibly ascertain if I didn't have any prior knowledge or experience on it. So for this episode, I just searched how to play the long game. And I will say that the suggestions the AI overview gave were actually pretty decent, but obviously not geared specifically towards health and fitness. So I wanted to take Google's recommendations and make them applicable to our situation. Google said that playing the long game involves making small, consistent efforts over time to achieve a goal rather than focusing on immediate gratification. And that is exactly what our mindset needs to be shifted to in order to see success with any of the things we're doing. It comes down to sacrificing what you want now for what you want most. Because right now in the moment, you're probably not going to want to do any of this. I can almost guarantee that. You're probably not going to want to eat a healthier meal or go to the gym or drink your water or any of it. And you have to expect that. You can't think that any of this is going to come with ease because it won't. And you have to consciously, in the moment, decide that what you want most, whether that's to lose weight, build muscle, be healthy, be mentally strong, whatever it is, matters more to you than what you might want right now. You have to learn to be okay with making some sacrifices and not giving in to every single little thing you want in the moment. And this is hard. This is really hard because the moments that you least feel like doing the thing, that's when it's most important that you do it anyways. When your alarm is going off at 5 a.m., blaring in your ear that it's time to get up because you need to go get to the gym before work, and you would give anything to shut that alarm off and just go back to bed, that is the most important time to get your butt up and get going. Because if you shut that alarm off, roll over, and go back to bed, you have given in. You're not sacrificing what you want now for what you want most. You're not putting deposits in today so that you can see the payoff from it a year from now. You're not building discipline when you give in to what you want in the moment. You build discipline when you execute on a plan regardless of how you feel. And I could truthfully do a whole episode on discipline, and I definitely will in the future. So I don't want to linger here too long. But in order to play the long game, you have to learn to make some sacrifices along the way for what you want most, rather than giving in constantly to the immediate gratification. And this comes from building up your discipline. When it comes to learning to play the long game, the focus has to be taken off that how long is this going to take mentality. And it needs to be put towards completing the daily actions that we know are going to eventually get us to where we want to be. The more you sit there and ask, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? No, you're not there yet. And now you're slowing yourself down even more. You cannot run at an all out sprint towards your goals if you're constantly turned around looking to see if you've made it. So instead of putting all of your energy and all of your focus into finding out how much longer you got to keep this up, focus on the next step in front of you. Focus on the actions that you need to take today to move the needle of your progress just a little bit forward. And once you've done that, repeat. Repeat day after day after day without stopping to ask how much further you have to go. Because truthfully, if you're asking yourself that question, your mindset is not in the right spot and not geared towards success. Think about if you had to run a race. Let's just say a marathon, because that is a long time to have to run. I have never done a marathon. I've barely even completed a 5K. I am absolutely not a runner. And my goodness, 26.2 miles is a really long time to have to run. Anyways, you're running a marathon, and the entire time you're focused on how tired you are and how much you hate running and how much you'd rather be doing anything other than the stupid race, and you're only focusing on all the negatives. How quickly do you think you're going to complete that marathon? I would say not quickly at all. Honestly, I would bet you don't even finish it. If that's the way you're approaching it, you're probably just going to quit at some point because your mind is not on board with what it takes to see this thing through. But if you would have just put your head down, said, okay, I've got a long race ahead of me, but I know I'm going to complete it because I'm capable, I said I would, and it matters enough to me, and ran without stopping to think about how much further you have to go, not only are you going to complete that race, but you're going to cross that finish line way sooner than you would have if you were focusing on all the negatives and all the little nuances and how much you hate the process of completing the race. It is the same with getting in shape, losing fat, building muscle, developing healthy habits, adopting a healthy lifestyle. Keep your focus on the next step in front of you and what you can do right now in this moment to take a step forward, not on the finish line. Something else Google mentioned about playing the long game was to give without expectations, which I absolutely love. Every single one of us needs to implement this right now. When it comes to your health and fitness journey, you have to give every single day to your workouts, to your habits, to your nutrition, without expecting anything in return. And I know that is not easy to do. Trust me, I get it. It sounds almost impossible, right? But hear me out. When you give 150% effort towards these things on a daily basis, expecting no return on investment, you're on the fastest track possible towards reaching your goals. If you can get to a point that you are putting the required energy and effort into the actions that are necessary to make progress without expecting one single ounce of payoff from it anytime soon, you are playing the long game. Because when you do this, you will just get so caught up in doing the daily tasks that your mind isn't thinking about how badly you want results now and how much you might want to quit because you've been doing this for a whole month now and still aren't seeing the results that you think you deserve. And if I could just kind of pause here for a minute, this is so important because the mind is an extremely powerful thing. It is immensely persuasive and it knows exactly what to tell you to get you to quit, give up, or never even start. And your ability or inability to master that and gain control of your mindset 100% determines whether you succeed or you fail in anything. This goes beyond just health and fitness. If you're up for a promotion at your job and your mind is telling you that it feels impossible, that you're not going to get the promotion because you're not qualified and you're not as good as so and so, whoever you're up against, you're darn right you're not getting that promotion. You have allowed your mind and your thoughts to determine your feelings, which determine your actions, which determine the outcome. Because your mind told you the promotion was too far out of reach, you felt inadequate, which caused you to go into that interview insecure and nervous and absolutely botch it, which caused you to not get the promotion. Do we see how that works? It is the same in health and fitness. Your mind will always, always try to tell you not to do any of this, not to swap McDonald's out for a home cooked meal, not to get up at 5 a.m. and get a workout in, not to get up off the couch and go get your steps in because guess what? It is hard. It is scary. It is uncomfortable and overwhelming and it freaking challenges how badly you want what you're after, but you have to recognize that and control it because if you allow yourself to feel that you are not capable of achieving your goals, you will not put 150% effort into what you need to do. And then guess what? You're right. You weren't capable. But if you tell your mind to be quiet and that you're more than capable of succeeding, which you are, You will go after what you really want with no restraints and you will win. This is what I'm talking about, guys. It's not physical, it's mental. We have to develop the mental gains if we want to develop the physical ones. We have to, we have to, we have to. It is not optional. It starts with your mindset, your perception, and your belief or lack thereof of your ability to accomplish your goals. So that's my rant. I've said my piece, getting back on track. You get out of this what you put in. So give 150% effort every single day to the things you need to while expecting not to see the payoff from it for a long time, and you'll be golden. And another thing that has been actually proven to help stay motivated and continue being able to play the long game is knowing what the end reward is. Knowing what the ultimate payoff will be from your consistent, continued efforts each day helps to be able to keep going. Because when you feel like what you're doing is getting you nowhere, it's not getting you any closer to your goal, of course it's going to be just that much harder to keep up with it. But when you know what your end reward is and know what you're working towards and you trust the process, it helps to be able to play the long game and be okay with the journey that lies ahead because you know what's coming and you know why you're doing what you're doing. And you're able to view those daily tasks not as pointless actions you're taking, but as things that are getting you one step closer every single day to your goals, even if it takes longer than you want it to. Knowing that hitting your macro targets every day helps get you one day closer to reaching that 10-pound fat loss goal. Knowing that getting that workout in is helping you get 1% closer to your goal to gain muscle. Knowing these things helps you to be able to keep your perspective straight that these are the required actions that need to be taken every day. Know what your end reward is and be okay with not reaching it overnight because anything worth having takes time, persistence, and hard work. But when you do reach that goal, going through all of those days leading up to it will have been 1,000% worth it and that much more impressive. If getting fit was easy to do, it would not be impressive. If you could lose 50 pounds with a snap of a finger, no one would care that you did it because you didn't really do much of anything to lose that weight. But the fact that it's not mentally easy to do is what makes it worth it and so rewarding in the end. And I know that the whole give without expectations and knowing what the end reward is might sound contradictory to some, but they're not. I think it's really, really important to define what your end game goal is, why it's important to you, and how you plan to achieve it, because we need to have a good enough reason to stick with all of this. It has to be something of extreme value to us and something that is not optional to reach. We have to really be after this goal because newsflash, no one is doing any of this for fun. No one's picking up going to the gym or eating a healthier diet. No one's picking those things up for fun. But once you've done that, don't dwell on the constant, am I there yet thought? Because asking yourself that question every day is mind numbing. Trust me, I've done it. And it's not fun. And it makes this whole process feel like it's taking way longer than it is. And don't think that because you made one sacrifice last Thursday and you picked the salad over the burger, that you're now owed anything in return for that. That's not enough, not even close. You have to be constantly giving and not expecting anything in return as far as your progress goes if you want to be able to see this thing through. Otherwise, you're going to get fed up that you made a couple hard decisions here and there over the past month and you're still not where you want to be. But the truth is that if you would have just kept making the hard decision, you would have seen the payoff from it in due time. It's not that it's not working. It's just that you haven't been doing it consistently for long enough yet. And quite honestly, you don't deserve to be there yet. You don't deserve the reward because you made a couple of small sacrifices. You deserve to be exactly where you are, for better or worse. And if you're not where you want to be yet, you got to keep going because you will get there. You just haven't put in enough of the hard work yet. So know what your end goal is and make sure that it's important enough to you. Because you could just say you want to lose weight because you want to look better, and that's all fine and good, but truthfully, that goal isn't going to get most of us very far because it's extremely surface level, and we can stop caring about that pretty quickly. Dig deep and find your why behind all of this. And if you're struggling to find your why, I'll help you out. The number one reason why every single one of us should be starting a health and fitness journey, if you haven't already, is shocker, your health. This should be top of the list, in my opinion. And a lot of the time, this comes second to aesthetics for people, unless we're in a situation where our health is failing and now we have no other choice but to start worrying about it. It should not have to get to this point for us to care enough about our bodies and our health to make this a priority. Your biggest why, in case you haven't identified it yet, is because you want to live a long, healthful life, right? You want to be able to be moving and grooving way into your 70s, 80s, heck, why not even 90s? That's my goal. I don't want to be laid up in some hospital bed because I neglected what my body needed for years. I don't want to be in and out of emergency rooms or doctor's offices or constantly having to be on medication because I couldn't be bothered with prioritizing my health. I want to be able to be around to play with my future grandkids and make it to their weddings and meet their children. Is it nice to lose some weight and put on some muscle and be lean and defined? Yes, but that is an added benefit. It's the cherry on top of all of this. In my opinion, this can't be the root of your why because at some point, you're probably going to decide that joining in with your coworkers on Pizza Fridays at the office every week is more important to you than the way you look. And truth be told, I almost don't blame you there. If it came down to just aesthetics, I'd pick the pizza too, 100%. But it shouldn't be more important than your health. Think about that. Is having pizza every single week, are those 5 minutes it's going to take you to eat that pizza, as delicious as it may be, is it worth your health? I can confidently say that as much as I love pizza, it's not worth it to me to have it every single week. On occasion, absolutely. I include it when I'm craving it, but I don't include it more than I include whole foods into my diet. You only have one body, one life, and one shot at this. So, my advice is to choose wisely while you still have the choice to make. The way you live your life when it comes to this and how you do or don't take care of your health doesn't just come down to you either. It affects everyone around you who cares about you. And if your longevity and quality of life isn't a big enough why for you to want to do any of this for yourself, think about the people in your life that it does affect: your spouse, your parents, siblings, children, friends. I don't know about you, but that right there was a big enough reason for me to keep going with this. Your actions affect those around you as well. And beyond that, every single one of us has a responsibility to be an example to others. I don't care if you're 10 years into your health and fitness journey or 10 days. You have a responsibility to set an example for the people in your life on what living a healthy lifestyle looks like. To your parents, to your children, to your friends and your coworkers, take that seriously. I don't care what your sphere of influence looks like. I don't care if it's small or if you have a million Instagram followers that you have to be an example to. It doesn't matter. Someone is always watching, and there's always someone you can help and possibly change the trajectory of their life and how they view and handle their health. So, all of that being said, know your why and make sure it's not just something surface level. Take time to reflect on this and place value on what your end goal is and why it's important to you that you reach it. And if you decide that your goal, whatever it is non negotiable for you to reach, then you need to stop viewing the actions that are going to get you there as negotiable. They're not. If you decide that you must reach your weight loss goal, you have now forfeited the right to view getting to the gym, getting your steps in, hitting your nutrition targets, drinking your water, getting your sleep in, all of that stuff as optional. These are the things that are required for you to reach that weight loss goal. You have now said you have no choice but to reach this goal, so you don't get to negotiate with yourself on whether you have to complete these daily tasks that are going to get you there. You do, period. Stop allowing your mind to talk you out of getting this stuff done just because you don't really feel like it right now or because it takes too long. Do you feel like reaching your goal? Then just get it done. Plain and simple. And truth be told, it doesn't really matter how long this takes, right? Because the whole point of this is to be a healthier human being, and that is a lifelong process. It's not something you do for a few months and then give up. It's a journey you're embarking on from now until the rest of your life. So, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter how long it takes as long as we're making consistent progress forward. As good as all the mindset talk sounds, I know everyone still really wants to know what to realistically expect for how long all of this takes. So, I'm going to break down the average time it takes to start seeing results. This is not the timeline of how long it takes to achieve all of your hopes and dreams, because truthfully, if you want the real answer to when will I reach my goals, the answer is when you've put in the required work consistently for long enough. That's when. And this is different for everyone because it comes down to how much effort you're willing to put into all of this. And that is completely up to you and in your control. But I will give an average timeline on what you can expect as far as how long it will take to start seeing progress. So, on average, it takes about 4 weeks for you to start noticing changes. Maybe your clothes are fitting a little better. Maybe you see some small improvements in the progress photos or the scale. Maybe you're feeling more confident when you look at yourself in the mirror. It takes about 8 weeks for your close friends and family to start noticing some changes. Maybe you're out at a family event or you have a holiday that the whole family is together, and you might get some comments about how good you look, or they might ask if you're working out or if you lost weight or what you've been up to. It takes about 12 weeks for the rest of the world to notice. So, people that you know, but maybe aren't super close with, might see you or see pictures of you and notice a change as well. So, 12 weeks. 12 weeks for people to really start noticing some first signs of changes. 12 weeks feels like an eternity when you're first starting out. People tend to look at 12 weeks when they first start and think, oh no, that's way too long to be doing the thing before people start to notice my hard work. But in the grand scheme of things, 3 months is nothing. It's a blip in time, and that time is going by regardless. So in 12 weeks, you can have your friend that you haven't seen in a year say, wow, you're looking really good. What have you been doing? Have you been working out? Or you can have nothing to show for those 12 weeks. Think about it in the span of a year, 5 years, 10, 20 years down the line. Do you want to be the person that people go to for health and fitness advice because you did what you had to and worked hard to make some changes and achieve your goals? Or do you want to be in the same exact position you're in now, looking back at all of that time you wasted away? The time is flying by regardless, but when you learn to play the long game and be okay with the fact that you might not get there overnight, you're not really going to care how long it takes because you know you're going to get there in due time. And the other option is to do nothing at all and make zero progress towards the things you want. But let me explain this. The average timeline I'm giving you is assuming that you are putting in the necessary work consistently during this time. If you're kind of doing what you need to do through the week, but falling off on the weekend, and then you're having a vacation after about a month or so, and you went overboard for an entire week while you were on your trip, no, that's not going to cut it. I'm talking consistent effort every day for weeks. Because it doesn't really matter if you were so good for 2 weeks, but then you fell off the wagon with your daily habits and nutrition for a good few weeks of time. If that's the case, restart the clock. Restart that timeline. The average time I'm giving you on how long all of this takes is assuming that you're doing your part during this time and doing what you need to. But don't get that confused. This doesn't mean being perfect. I'm talking about finding that roughly 80-20 balanced lifestyle and maintaining that consistently. So there's your average timeline of when you can expect to start seeing some physical changes. But I just want to circle back real quick and re-emphasize that there is no end date on this journey. There is no, I can stop doing this when blank. You are now building a healthy lifestyle. Your mindset has to be shifted from looking for shortcuts and the quickest ways to reach your goals to the fact that this is a lifestyle. This is a long game. It's not a 12-week program and then you're done. You're going to be doing these things from here on out forever. Because as soon as you stop doing them, you're going to revert back and lose the progress that you did make. There is no end date on when you should stop being a healthy human being. And the actions, the habits, the nutrition protocols that you follow to achieve your goals will have to be maintained for the rest of your life if you want to keep your results. You don't get to keep them if you don't keep up with it. And this is exactly why, if you're not able to sustain a certain diet forever, I recommend you don't even start it. Because whatever you do to obtain your results will need to be maintained from here on out. I mean, to a certain extent, of course. There are definitely different times and different phases of your fitness journey that your protocols will look slightly different, but I'm talking in general terms here. Don't do anything crazy to get your results, and you won't have to do anything crazy to keep them. And I know it might sound cliche, and it is, but truthfully, your health and fitness journey is more about the journey than it is the destination. Because something happens when you are on a mission to becoming the best, healthiest, most confident version of yourself, not only physically, but mentally as well. Something starts to shift when you make your health a priority in your life, and the lessons you learn and the challenges you face during all of it are what enable you to come out of it as a better, more capable person than you were when you started. Truthfully. So I know it's corny, but it 1,000% is more about the journey of you reaching your goals than it is about you actually reaching them. So when you're feeling tired and frustrated because this is taking longer than you wanted it to, just keep that in mind. If the journey was quick, it wouldn't have been much of a journey at all, and you wouldn't have really learned anything or grown from it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and got something out of it. Please be sure to share this episode with someone you know who could benefit from it. And if you have any questions or comments on anything I talk about on here, you can reach out to me on Instagram. My DMs are always, always open. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you later.